No, I've been good. Just staying busy, of course. Just day-to-day stuff. Life's been crazy, but it's finally like the week's restarting. Got like fresh vibes coming out, so it's a chance to keep it pushing and going.
Well, I follow you on Instagram, and I feel like you are probably one of the busiest people out there, from clothes to music to TikToking.
Oh, I
You
know.
stay busy. Let's talk about the clothes first. What made you, I guess, come out with the clothing line?
Okay, so basically about like the beginning of like December slash like mid-December,
Mhm.
I was just like thinking like of a way to kind of just like branch out and just like do something that I saw not a lot of people were doing. And in that case, like most artists are like they make merch for their EP, they make merch for their project,
Right.
vinyls, all that type of stuff. But it's not something that's kind of like specific to people and to the masses and to the fans and to the supporters that support us.
Mhm.
So I was like talking to like my like best friend Jackson, who's also my roommate, my boyfriend, and my other friends at the time, and I was like, hey, like, what's a way that we could like all like bud heads together and like think of like how we can make something that people would like that's like materialistic wise, like clothes,
Mhm.
but something that's custom and personal to them. And that's when my boyfriend got the idea. He was all like, hey, he was like, what if like we do like one of one custom pieces. And then I was like, yo, like that would be so dope, like if we like just like paint on jeans, customize shirts, thrifted finds and stuff like that. And it's like pieces that like no one can get anywhere else, that's kind of just like surrounded around my music, around stuff that I'm doing.
Mhm.
And we were like, what are we gonna call it? And I was like, crap, I was like, one of one. Like, duh, like literally everything that we're making is one of one. So then we have our little logo, the number one of one. And I was like, hell yeah, like how can I incorporate this for like my EP? So then like we like figured, we were like, hey, like let's make like custom painted jeans for each song off the EP. Like the
Wow.
EP's Butterfly Effect. So a song Butterfly Effect. Let's make Butterfly Effect themed jeans. Tattoos Are Forever. Let's make Tattoos Are Forever jeans. Sunnier Days, that. And within 24 hours, all of them sold out on the site. And then we were like, okay, how can we make this even bigger? So we were like, all right, let's make it so that people can purchase custom orders. People
Mhm.
can say like, hey, like I love this idea that you did on your Instagram of you wearing like a red hoodie or something. I want something that has that same type of idea on these pants. They can put in their sizes, they can put in everything, purchase it. We go out, we go get the jeans, we thrift it, we make it custom for them. And yeah, so we've just got a bunch of orders of custom designs that we're catching up with, making some also like just new projects and like designs from our heart that we want to make.
Mhm.
Um, I'm doing some like dope stuff like Marvel themed, like partnering up with them because they know that I'm like a big like fan of like stuff. So like yeah, it's just like kind of just branching out, trying to do things that people aren't doing yet. And a lot of people haven't really like thought of doing with artistry before, because I'm a person that kind of believes that like, hey, like it doesn't have to be music or social media. You can bridge those two together and then just make a whole empire. And that's just what I'm trying to do right now.
Absolutely. Did you ever? Because I feel like you got into it musically, right? If I'm
Yes.
right. Did you think that it would get this big?
At the time, no. When I first started posting, I was literally posting for fun. Like people in my middle school were just talking about this like random app that you could lip sync to like Drake songs, and I was like, all right, all right. So I just posted a random video in my backyard, and literally the first video that I posted got featured. That like what it was, where like Musically basically picked a video and they showed it to everyone. And I just remember waking up and like it was at like 400,000 views, and like at that time, like 400,000 views was like whoa, because like it was like a smaller app people were first starting. Now on TikTok, like that's like the normal stuff, but it was like I was like, whoa, like a lot of people are like watching my stuff. So I was like, okay, let me do some random lip sync videos in the car or at school. And then a lot of people just started vibing with me. And I was like, hey, like I actually sing. Like I play instruments. Like I go to school for orchestra. Like I play violin, cello, viola, guitar, piano. Like I want to incorporate my music somehow on this. So I started posting covers and dance videos. And I was actually one of the first people that started actually using things on the app that wasn't just like lip sync or like sped up like type of audios and stuff like that. So I take those, post that on Instagram, and then boom, my Instagram started growing because people started like seeing those videos and were like, hey, I just saw that on Musically, I want to follow this guy. And then both just started growing at the same time, and I was like, all right, how can I make this keep going? Boom, started posting covers on YouTube, started posting stuff on Twitter. So I just kind of like made sure that I was like just like cross branding myself on all of the platforms, so then if one blows up, the rest would all just keep growing and growing and growing. And I think that's why I was able to, and like even now out at this point that like across platform, there's
Mhm.
not like really one that's lacking like too much besides like my like Twitter, because like I'm just starting like posting on that again. Because like I was like, hey, like my people on Musically or TikTok, make sure you go follow my Instagram to see the other half of this. My Instagram, make sure you go here on my YouTube to see the other half of this, to kind of just like keep everything growing at the same time. So then like, hey, like if one app falls off or something that happens on one, I still have this other whole brand to kind of
Right.
keep me afloat. And that's what happened, because when the fall of Musically happened, I still had my Instagram, I still had my YouTube. TikTok happened, boom, already had that mass. I could go follow me there. So
Did you already have this in your mind to like, have it on Musically and then, all right, well, let's put it on Instagram. All right, well, let's put it on YouTube. You've come up with that solution by yourself, or was mom in the background telling you like, all right, we need to do that? Was all you?
It was my mama. My mama Gigi is a genius. She like, it was like the way we work is that we'll both think of an idea at the same time, and it's just like whoever says it first. And then like, cause like she'll be like, what if you do this? And I'm like, I was just thinking that. And then I'll be like, what if we do this? And she was all like, I was just thinking that too. So I was just doing it, like not thinking about it. Like I was like, oh, let me just post on Instagram too. Like I'm like, oh, I want followers there. I want followers there too. But then she's like, hey, like that's actually really smart, because then you're cross-branding all of these. And when we pitch you for stuff, it looks great saying like, boom, 100K here, 200K there, 500K there, a million there. It's like all like up in the numbers. And I was just kind of doing it on my own. And then she just kind of like had the business side, like already knowing what to do in this industry. I was new to it, just posting stuff for fun. And then we just kind of became a dynamic duo.
You guys are in sync. I will say that about you too.
Very.
You're super busy. What do you do when you're not like, because I feel like you share a lot of your life and your story on social media, and I feel like that can be exhausting. So what do you do to unplug and to recharge?
Honestly, sometimes just let my phone die.
Really?
Like I feel like if my phone's charged, I'm gonna have that urge to go post, go do something, go in the comments, go do something like that. So sometimes I'll just like, we'll just like me and like all my friends, we'll just let our phones die. Like we'll make sure that we have like one person that's like, because like in my like friend group, there's like a few people that like are the opposite of like industry or entertainment. Like they work their 9 to 5s. They're planning on going to college. Like they're planning on like becoming, like I have friends that are trying to be nurses. I have friends that are trying to be veterinarians and like stuff like that are just kind of like doing a whole different side of like life. So it's like we have that kind of like balance where like they'll be like, hey, like let's just go do something. Let's go like just run around town, have fun, go up in the hills and like look at a lookout, just look at the city, or like let's go like play video games. Like we'll literally just all sit down in a group, plug up the Nintendo Switch and just play games off of our phones for like hours. We'll like watch movies together, shows together. Like it's like a good break from everything that goes on online, because it kind of can like get very consuming and
Absolutely.
like you, because like sometimes like if it's a day that like, hey, like those streams might not be doing as good as last week, or that post might not be doing as well, like you're thinking like, hey, okay, what can I do to make this better? You're stressing out, you're overthinking stuff, and really you just kind of got to take a step back, enjoy life as it is, and then kind of jump back in, because like although it might be a really fun thing for me, at the end of the day, like it still is my job now. So it's a fun job to have, but it's still good to have that balance of work and like those like leisure activities that are so like just like a break that are not exhausting.
I'm sure your DMs and comments and things like that are overwhelming.
Yes, very, especially like just like when I'm like active on my stories or posting something, you'll just see like a bunch of like replies to it or something, and I'm trying to like reply back to everybody, and then someone gets upset that I didn't reply back to them. So it's just making sure that like I just like am communicating with my followers. That's one thing that I love about my community of like supporters, is that like we're friends, like we talk, like I'll get on Zoom with them and I'll be like how is that like prom like thing you were doing, how was school, like how was that date you told me that you were going on in your DMs. Like I feel like that communication is just really good. It does get overwhelming, but like it's also fun for me, because it's just like it's like having long distance friends online.
Absolutely. So let's talk about the new song, Tattoos Are Forever. There was one line that I feel like stuck out to me. It was like, tattoos are forever, something you can't undo. So if that's untrue, then I'll make you my tattoo.
Yeah.
And I was like, huh, you are, it seems so personal, this song. Tell us about it.
Well, it is. The song's literally about my boyfriend, like the whole experience of our relationship. Anyone that's been supporting my music from the beginning knows that like my music was so depressing because it I went through so much for a 16, 17-year-old, just like being.
Why was it depressing? Like what were you going through?
Okay, so I have to make this like a little bit dark. Just like it's like I
Please
struggle with like anxiety so bad.
Mm-hmm.
So like when little things kind of just like add up, like it would affect me so much. Like I have such like great control over it now, but like me being like 14 to like 17, like with like literally millions of people looking at me like online, judging everything that I do. Like
Right.
I make one wrong move and I see a bunch of DMs like going off on me, and then you have to like the comments of like slurs and like all of these hate comments and stuff like that. Like it gets exhausting, and then like you kind of just look in the mirror and you're like, damn, like is it true? Like, are they telling the truth? Like, why would all these people be saying something?
Well, they can't tell the truth because number one, they don't know you.
Exactly. And that's the thing that I feel like I had to grow to realize, that I'm like, they can't tell my truth better than I live it.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. Like, no matter what. And once I kind of understood that message and kind of incorporated that into my life, I was like, hey, like this all is becoming a lot easier. And like, I feel like that's like something that like a lot of like my supporters and just teenagers in general are going through right now, because like online is such a beautiful place, but it is such a brutal place too. Like
Absolutely.
there are people out there with no mercy, and you just kind of just have to realize that like, hey, like if you know who you are, no one can take that away from you. No one can say anything to change your opinion about yourself or your perception of yourself. But I would just incorporate those feelings into my music and songs. So then when I was like teasing stuff for like the EP, and I was like, you might have like some love songs on the EP, some happy stuff. Everyone was like, are you good? You're happy? You're good, Bryce? And I'm like, yeah.
Not emo anymore?
Yeah. So I literally, the song, like it was just written in the studio. Like most of the EP was written in one day, written and recorded in one full like session, like a long like 10-hour session with me and Gavin, one of my best friends who produced a lot of the songs on it. And my boyfriend was actually in the studio with my best friend Jackson, just like they were minding their business. They always come and support me, and I'm like writing the song, and then Jackson's like MJ to my boyfriend, like, are you listening to this? And I was literally just writing like a song about like the story of our relationship. And he like said something to me like a few weeks before, and he was like, tattoos are forever, like just like making like a joke, just like saying it about us like getting like tattoos. We were like, oh, we're gonna get matching tattoos one day, like I know we're gonna do it. And he was like, I'll make my tattoo because tattoos are forever. And I just remember I was like, I'm gonna use that. I wrote that down on my notes, and then when we got in the session, I just kind of went off on it, and then I wrote the song, recorded it in like under an hour. And then everything just came out. And I always find it easier to do it that way when you're just speaking from truth. When you don't force something, just the art comes out naturally.
So the song, it's personal. It's so funny how their reaction to you being happy because all of your music was like, you know, sad and in your feelings and things like that. I think that's hilarious.
It's so funny because it's like you literally can tell like your artists like what they're going through based off of the stuff that they're producing. Like you even see like some of my favorite artists, I'll see like Loud, but like a lot of people when they get in relationships, like the music's more geared towards like lovey and happy stuff versus when they're going through a lot of stuff. So it's just kind of cool because it's like you're still following along on that pathway in the music.
So tell us, what are you working on next?
More music. I'm working with a lot of like amazing like producers and stuff like that. Continuing stuff with like the clothing line with like One of One, getting enough songs together if I decide that I want to put out an album or do like another EP or project. And this is actually like my first like time like focusing on just like collabing with people, like collabing with producers, collabing with music artists and stuff like that, because we had no collab in the EP. So it's just a time to like just kind of like branch out, try new things in music that I haven't done before, try new things in social media that I haven't done before, and just growing and pushing my boundaries.
Well, Bryce, it's always a pleasure. Tell Gigi I said what up. Looking
I
like
will.
Regina King. And it's always a pleasure. I appreciate the chat.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Of course. And guys, that is a wrap.
Bye.